Welcome to Out Off Topic. We're back,
Yes, we're back.
and
Couple week break there.
we're back in studio.
Yeah, first time in a
A
while.
rare studio appearance.
I feel like the last time we were in the studio was also after a break.
It usually is now because you've traveled here and
Yeah.
usually had stuff to do.
Yeah, we had a bunch of car stuff going on, so we need to do car things to talk about car things. So I guess this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, but if we don't take time off, we don't have content. So there you go.
Yeah, for the most part.
Especially this time of year, it's like heavy car time here in New England.
So anyway, yeah, you're back in New England. Been for a couple weeks now.
Yep, came into town for the New England Forest Rally and the Climb to the Clouds and a couple personal things as well. So
Yeah.
it all timed out pretty well for the same month of time. And for the next 2 weeks, I have the opportunity to work from home. So I'll take it and work from home from old home. So,
Yeah, we gotta remember what to talk about here. I covered a lot of ground.
Well, I'm trying to remember what we talked about the last time we were on air. It's, like I said, it's been a while. But I know we haven't talked about anything I've done since I've been here. So,
No, so we might as well let's go back to the Rustard Gold.
start with the project cars.
Yeah.
So while I'm here, if you remember back in May, last time I was here for a short period of time, we tried to get the car started, and the engine was seized.
Oh yeah.
So I went full nuclear and pulled the engine apart because I wasn't going to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to last night, and the car started.
Yeah.
And things happened in between.
Mm-hmm.
So when I left in May, we had freed the engine up with liberal use of rust penetrant and transmission fluid and a hammer and some wood.
Mm-hmm.
When I was putting the car back together, I wanted to put the head on it, but I couldn't find a head gasket. Nobody local had any access to a head gasket. Even like Amazon and RockAuto.com and all the normal sources
No
didn't
one
have a head gasket.
in the country had a head gasket for a 75 Colt?
74.
74.
Not no one in the country. No one in the country through normal means.
Yeah.
So I found one on eBay. And then I found another one on eBay. And then I found an entire upper end gasket set on eBay. So I bought all three.
Yep.
So if anybody has a Mitsubishi from the mid-70s with a G52A, that is a 2.0 four-cylinder pre-balance shaft, you want a head gasket? $5,000.
Whoa. Oh,
No. I would
you criminal.
sell it for what I paid for it. I think I paid like $10 or $12 a piece for them. So
Oh, don't give away your secrets.
I tell you, it is what it is. I just want to make sure that they didn't wind up being tossed in the trash, because I'm sure
The
that
first step to car hoarding.
yes. Well, if you want to hoard weird things, you
These
need
are
to
my
have-
parts. Don't touch them. I'll get to them someday.
You know, I'm sitting here in your basement, and I'm surrounded by all kinds of things that I could say the same thing about you for.
I don't look at my model kits. I'll get
Right.
to them someday.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I bought the entire eBay stock at the time of head gaskets for 2.0 pre, I think 78 2-liter Mitsubishi four cylinders.
There can't
So-
be many left.
And chances are pretty good I'm going to wind up with another one at some point. So I might as well buy the parts, right?
Oh, I guess.
I have all these dumb things, and I'm not stopping buying these dumb things, it seems. So when they come available, I buy them. But anyway, so I had to leave without putting the car back together, which was frustrating. But at the same time, I didn't have much time left anyway. I probably wouldn't have been able to put it together to the point to make it run, so it didn't really matter that much. I had all the parts shipped here to Massachusetts in May, and then I went back home and lived a normal life for a while. And now I'm here again. So it was time to pull it out. So pulled it off the hill, pulled the cylinder head off of it because we had put the cylinder head back on it just with the old head gasket not torqued down, and filled it full of fluid film so it would not rust again. Successful. It did not rust again. That's good. Didn't think it would in a short period of time, but you never know.
It rained a lot here.
Yeah, it always rains a lot here. I think it's raining right now here. So I pulled it apart, kind of assessed everything that was going on, made sure I had all the parts I needed, thought I did, and started working on it. I don't have the most amount of time to work on it while I'm here because working from home in Massachusetts, but working for a Phoenix based company, means that my hours of employment are Phoenix hours. So at minimum, I'm working like 11 a.m. until 7:30 p.m., usually closer to 8, and usually starting closer to 10. So it winds up being not much time in the morning and then not much time at night to actually do anything else. So the entire time I've been here, I haven't like done anything but work on the car and work, other than the planned things, which we'll get to, the forest rally and whatnot. Just because it takes the whole day to do that. So car is mostly together. There weren't a lot of hiccups. It kind of went pretty smooth. I don't have a lot of good maintenance or good repair stories. I mean, everything just kind of worked. Head went on the car fairly easily. I replaced all the fuel lines. There's a complicated check valve system, 1974 emissions, that had 4 individual lines coming off of it of various sizes. So I replaced all of those. I had taken the radiator out of it in order to have access to everything when we took it apart. So I had to replace the transmission cooling lines. So it's got new transmission cooling lines. Pretty much everything I touched that's not like part of the car was replaced. Anything maintenance wise was replaced. So hoses, fluids, obviously.
We didn't have any spark. We went to start it.
Oh, that's right too. It didn't have any spark.
Hmm.
So that was also to the fact that this car sat for a long period of time, and all it was corrosion on the points. Yes,
Yeah.
the car has points, but it's 1974, so that makes sense. I am going to replace them with a Petronics. I just didn't want to buy it until we knew for a fact the motor was going to be good,
Yeah.
because it's like $100 plus the coil. So that's a good upgrade for anybody who runs a car with old points set up. It makes it it's you don't have to maintain them. They just work. It runs more efficiently. It starts easier. They're just really good. So we can thank your dad for that one because he's ignition wizard. And he must have seen the bat signal go up because he appeared right about when we were having issues. So he was able to go through that and follow all the different leads and follow all the different lines and figure out exactly where the problem lay. So we checked, made sure the coil was good, made sure the resistor was good, made sure everything was getting power, everything seemed good, and wound up taking a file to the points, and then we had spark. So excellent stuff. Yeah, the car it started right up, pouring some fuel down the carburetor. It's not running great by pouring fuel down the carburetor because, we're basically drowning it. And cars don't run on a puddle of fuel; they run on a mist of fuel.
Yeah.
So when you just pour fuel down the carburetor, it doesn't run quite the way it should. The issue we're dealing with now, and what tomorrow's plan is to find out why there's no fuel getting from the tank to the engine. So I went to siphon the fuel out of the tank, and there was no fuel in the tank, so it was bone dry. Which means that who knows what could have gotten up in there, spiders and whatever. And they could have built all kinds of spider nests in the lines and be plugged up. Maybe it's plugged up. Or maybe it's the fuel pump. So we were talking about it earlier, and you recommended running some compressed air from the line under the hood back into the tank, which is one thing I'll do. And the other thing I'll do is take the fuel line off of the filter and just dunk it in a bowl or a cup of fuel and crank the car over and see if it actually sucks fuel out of that into the filter, because those mechanical fuel pumps, they have a rubber diaphragm inside of them, and this thing again has sat dry for the last inspection sticker is 1995.
Oh.
So it sat dry for a long time. We were both in high school then, I think, or almost in high school. I was in high school then. You were a couple years behind.
I was in middle school.
Yeah, so it was a long time ago. Now, I was in high school then, and I'm 40 now, so it wasn't a minute ago that car was last driven. So,
But also, it's weird because the car was 20 years old at that point, only on 10,000 miles.
yeah, the car's only gone 10,000 miles still to this day. Other than on the back of a transport truck.
Yeah.
So, it's basically a brand new car that's just a piece of garbage because it was not taken care of. What really sucks about the whole story, and I think I brought it up a long time ago on the podcast, maybe? I don't remember. When I first got the car, so you had to go way back. I think the car predates the podcast, actually.
I think it does too. Yeah, it was. You probably talked about it. It was in a garage, and the guy put it
Yeah,
outside for 10 years.
the guy bought a house, and the car was in the garage, and it was mint and still had seat covers on it, like the factory plastic seat covers. It had blue plastic on the door sills, and he decided just to roll it out of the garage and park it under an oak tree for a decade plus, 2 decades, 95 to 2000. Well, actually, not in 95. He bought the house in like 2005 or 2006, and it was parked outside under a tree till like 2015 when I got it. So,
Yeah.
and he started to take it apart to part it out, which is annoying, but all the parts are still there, thankfully. So, yeah, the only hiccup I really ran into was a radiator petcock. It's a very strange size. Between the two of us, we have more than enough Mitsubishis with radiators and spare radiators lying around, and assumed we'd have a petcock that fit, but it's smaller than all of the ones that our other cars have. Even the 78 radiator that I have and the 77 radiator that I have in the trunk have a larger drain plug in them. So that's annoying. I need to figure that out. Right now, I just have a screw in there that plugs the hole, but it's not what I want to leave there forever. So when I fill it with coolant, I'll probably just fill it with water right now because I'm going to have to drain it when I get the correct size petcock for it. So, but yeah, it's pretty close to running. Like it runs on, like I said, that fuel, and I can feather the throttle and have somebody else squirt fuel in the carburetor, and I can keep it running for, a few minutes. So it's use cases there. It's definitely working. I went through everything else on the car, all the electrics, the lights all work, the radio, the blower motor, everything works like a 10,000 mile car should. There's no other issues. So it's just has a sun baked interior and sun baked paint, and everything else seems fine. A little bit of body work to do here and there. The previous owner, who also put it outside for 10 years, also backed his Jeep into the right quarter panel. So that's why the right quarter panel is pushed in a little bit. So he obviously, it's strange somebody would buy a house with a car in the garage that was mint and just put it outside and forget about it for a decade.
Or just not sell it at the time.
Right. It's a weird thing. But
I don't know.
I have pictures of the car at his yard, and for a time period, one of the windows was down. So the entire inside of the car was full of leaves when I got it too, which is weird. And I have pictures of it in front of the house from Google Street View in like 2005 when he bought the house. So I don't know. It's running now, kind of. Just once you figure out fuel delivery, the rest of it we put it up on your dad's lift. There's one more fuel line that I couldn't quite get to replace without putting it up on the lift. I could, but it would be easier to just put it in the lift. So I'll replace that last fuel line and go through brake lines, make sure everything is not dry rotted and junk, see if it needs brakes, check the brake fluid, and see if we can run it up and down the street a few times and get some plates on it. It'll be exciting to drive it, that's for sure.
All right.
One thing I can talk about real quick was the headlight buckets.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw those before. You saw a picture of them before, probably.
They come out of the Titanic.
They're really rusty. So, short version of a long story, somebody left them in a bucket under a porch in my old house when they were cleaning out the basement. I didn't know they were there. So they sat in a bucket under the porch for maybe 3 years. And that bucket, obviously in New England, filled up with water because there was no lid on it.
Yeah.
And it just stayed full of water for a long time. So they were very rusty. Bought a gallon of Evapor Rust, and I would highly recommend that to anybody working on anything old and rusty, whether it be parts or tools or anything, because it, in less than 4 hours, cleaned most of the rust off.
I don't understand how it works.
It's non-toxic.
Yeah, how's that possible?
You can touch it with your bare hands.
It doesn't make any sense.
You can get it in your... It says not to drink it, but also says, like, if you do drink it, you're not going to die. It's fine.
I like your dad's theory. It's just flat Coca-Cola.
Just flat Coca-Cola, yeah. I don't know what it is, but it works better than Coca-Cola for sure. It does a really good job. And then my father actually helped out a lot with that because I was doing the mechanical stuff, and He was looking to help out with something on the car, so he helped out with that. He painted them up black, and they put them in the car, and they look like brand new now. So
Weird.
I'm very excited. Let's put it that way. The car is closer to running than it's ever been in my entire ownership, which
Yeah.
has been since 2015. So much like a lot of things in my life at that time, it took a long time to get to it, but here we are now, and I'm getting to it, and we'll have another runner pretty soon,
Cool.
and I'm excited. Excited to use it, excited to drive it. It's a really neat little car. It's totally different than the 78 Colt because it's a Galant based, whereas the 78 Colt is a Lancer based. So it's like a mid 70s Mitsubishi Galant versus a mid 70s Mitsubishi Lancer. So
Sure.
listen, jerk, we have two Infinities in your yard.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
and you have a Galant and an Eclipse, which are the same car, or Talon, excuse me.
They're not the same car.
It's the same car.
No.
Don't make fun of me for liking cars. Because if I didn't like cars, we wouldn't have a podcast, and nobody could hear our voices, and life would be better for everybody. But that's beside the point. Have you done any car-related things, Andrew?
Oh, yes. So I was supposed to do a track day on the 29th at Thompson.
Yep.
Track night in America. But, with a young kid, we had all the daycare diseases
Yeah,
for
you
the
guys.
week leading up to it. And
You guys
that
had
week,
everything except for COVID.
yeah. So we had a pretty miserable 2 weeks as far as like little kid diseases. So I couldn't go to that, and it was the same week as NEFR. We'll get to that. So luckily, right now, because of COVID, SCCA has a really smooth policy with that. They just gave me a credit for the
Yeah.
event.
Okay, they definitely did not used to do that.
No,
You used to have to like sell your spot to somebody. That
Yeah.
was the only way to get rid of it.
no, because they don't want people sick showing up to their events.
And that, say what you will about COVID being, a bad thing, but the one good thing about it is it's made people more aware of personal hygiene and not showing up places sick.
Yeah.
So it's nice. That part's nice. COVID's not nice, obviously, but that part's nice.
So anyway, I was able to move that to. There's one in Thompson, August 31st.
Oh, I thought the one you did at NHMS was the...
I had already registered for the one at HMS
Okay.
on the 5th. And then some other ones opened up, and they've been filling up pretty fast. So there's one I had registered for at Lime Rock on the 21st or 22nd. They're doing two days in a row because it was so popular.
That's super cool.
Um,
Driving on Lime Rock would be fun.
Yeah, and then the last one of the season for New England here is October 5th at Thompson. So I signed
Okay.
up for that one.
I'll still be here on the 21st. Maybe I should come down with you.
September 21st?
Oh, nope. August 21st. Never mind.
Nope. So anyway, I had to get the Galant ready for that. So I bled the brakes with Motul because I already done pads and rotors, like nice pads and rotors, like a few
Okay.
years ago.
Not that long ago.
And I don't drive the car that much, so they
Yeah.
weren't worn out.
A few years, but not many miles.
No, like probably less than 5,000 miles in the last like 2 years.
Right.
So it's got, I believe it's Hawks in the front, like probably HPSs. And then Hawk doesn't make rears, unfortunately, for the car. So it's whatever. It's like the best power stops that you can get, which are like some ceramics.
Sure.
And Motul 600 is like basically the standard for brake fluid.
Because you can't get the blue stuff anymore, so...
No, you can't get AT Super Blue anymore. So I did that. I also did the clutch because the clutch was looking kind of dark, but it was also blue because at the time I believe I had AT Blue when I put that car together. So I had flushed it originally with blue stuff
So you did have blue originally.
in 2010.
Yeah.
So that's the last time I really flushed the brakes. So
But again, since 2010, how many miles have you done?
quite a few.
Oh, okay.
It was almost 30,000 miles on that car. So it probably should have been done sooner, but it's done now. I had done brakes, and calipers, but not really flush fluid. It was time for gear oil because I hadn't done that in a while, in a couple of years. So the new Hut stuff is it used to be Synchromesh.
Yeah, Pennzoil Synchromesh is what we used to use.
Yeah, RBG Synchromesh, but MT90 works really well. It's like the newer oil, and it's got all the right stuff in it for the brass synchro rings.
Okay.
And the then I used I didn't have, annoyingly nobody sells Redline locally, so I couldn't get like 75.90 for the transfer case, and I ordered the wrong Redline for it online, so I don't know why I ordered like the heavy duty shockproof, like that wasn't the right stuff. I was like, that stuff
So
ain't
you
the right
haven't done
stuff.
the transfer case yet?
No, I did the transfer case, so I ended
Oh.
up just going to the store and getting like Valvoline 75.90.
Okay, which is probably fine.
It is fine. It's the same, pretty much. And
It's
I
probably still better than what ran in the car originally. So
and I used I went on Amazon and fluid transfer pumps.
hmm
This company called Slippery Pete, and they make
is that a name of a TV show on Amazon?
yes, it is.
Okay.
They make one that fits the gallon jugs of MT90, and they make ones that fit quart bottles, and they're like less than $15 a piece.
Okay.
So I bought 2 of those because supposedly everybody raves about them. I was like, well, let me try them out. They do work really well. Like, it didn't leak and spurt oil everywhere.
Gear oil has always been the worst task in a car.
It also, they have like enough movement in each pump, like it doesn't take forever.
Yeah, that was the other problem. Everything we found that worked. Like I remember your dad had this like comically small oil can that you used to put a couple of quarts in. Not a couple
It
of
was like a
quarts.
Tin Man
like
oil
a
can.
quarter of a quart, and you could pump it, but it took like 100,000 pumps to get rid of that pint of
No, the only
fluid.
problem I had with the gallon one was that it completely filled the fill hole for on the DSM transmission.
Okay.
And
So you couldn't see when it was full.
yeah, and I was pumping it, and I was like, I think this is full. I put a lot in there, and I pulled it out, and it was like, whoosh,
Like an oil change?
Yeah, I was like, oh, so I let it run for like a minute till it was just a solid small dribble.
Yep.
Because I overfilled it a little bit and then plugged it up.
So we need to get like a
No,
tiny little funnel,
you just gotta no, you just take it out every
couple of pumps.
couple of pumps, and just to make sure when you're getting close. So anyway, I did that, the transfer case with the quart one. It doesn't fit Redline quarts because they have the tapered neck, but it sat in it enough, and it worked.
To work. Okay.
It also worked. I also tried the Valvoline is notable because it was the bag, the Capri Sun bag.
The Capri Sun bag, yeah.
I did not like it. I put it up there and went to squeeze it in, and it just like was not going into the transfer case. It was just coming straight back out. Like it was just too powerful of a squirt.
So it was literally like a Capri Sun.
Yeah.
Like if you squeeze a Capri Sun, it doesn't go in your mouth. It goes all over your face and your shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not impressed with that, but the pump does screw onto the cap.
So you can use it for that too then.
So I pumped it out of the bag.
Excellent. Could you use this pump pretty much for anything if you just had somebody else holding the container it was in? Or a high enough shelf to put it on?
Probably.
Okay. Just as long as the feed tube is in the liquid.
Yeah, and you just need to hold it so it doesn't push into whatever container you're.
Right. That's what I mean. If somebody else to kind of hold things.
And then I went to the dealer and bought, which it's not called Diaqueen LSD oil anymore. It's just 90 weight LSD oil.
Okay.
So
It's still Mitsubishi branded.
yeah,
I wonder who makes that.
I don't know, but it's the best stuff for the LSDs in a Mitsubishi.
Yeah, because there used to be branded Mitsubishi Diaqueen, like you said, but it never said who built it or who built it, who made it. It was just kind of a Mitsubishi says use this, so you use this.
It's honestly the best stuff.
Yep.
And when you start going through forums where people have like sent it to like Blackstone Labs and stuff, it's like legit good oil for diffs,
Right.
for Mitsubishi diffs. So
And other discs probably too.
So threw that in there. Car was good to go. I did a couple double checks on ECM Link, and it's running like 10 degrees too warm.
Okay.
I think around town. So I'm pretty sure. So I ordered some Kydex sheets, which is like thin plastic, like textured black plastic.
Okay.
People use them to make like those molded plastic holsters for guns. They'll make their own. You'll put it in the oven, then you'll drape it over your gun, and you can make one of those holsters that like sticks close to your body.
I've never
like
heard of
concealed
this.
carry.
Yeah.
Or people do knife sheaths with it. But you can use it for all sorts of projects. You could make a switch panel on a dash with it.
Okay. I've never heard of this particular product.
So it's very easily formed with heat, like a heat gun, not like or an oven. Like that kind of high heat.
Like
But anyways,
500 degrees.
yeah. So it's pretty thin and light. So this car is missing all the air guides because the previous owner, I don't know, take them out.
Track car.
And the intercooler kind of sits in front of the condenser and the radiator, and there's kind of a gap there, and
The air doesn't get to the radiator until third.
yeah, so it might be it might be going through the intercooler and then just stalling out and then going around.
Yep.
So basically what I'm going to do with this Kydex is just build a lower plate to go under the intercooler and then some side plates
Just like the factory style.
just like the factory style to help force the air through the radiator and not around the radiator.
Okay.
And with the data logger, the ECM link, you should be able to tell that. Because at speed, it's like 206. It should be under 200 because I was using the data logger on the track, and you're doing 70 miles an hour, and the thing's 206, 210, like not at full wide open throttle. Like it should be.
Yeah, it should be cooler.
Should be a lot cooler. It should be dropping like 10 degrees.
Well, also, if you remember, the car overheated a few years ago.
That was a bad fan.
Okay.
The fan wasn't strong enough. So that's the other thing. It does have a cheap. It was a Chinese copy of the original fan, and it might not be flowing well enough. But the other thing is too, if the fan switch, I was talking to our other listener Kevin Bates about this because he helps me with the tuning on it. If it triggers to come on at a certain temp, but it doesn't have a switch to shut the fan off at speed, which modern cars have.
Mm-hmm.
A spinning fan at speed does not help with airflow either. It will block airflow.
Because it becomes almost a wall at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So if it's triggering to turn on the fan and then you start going at speed, but it's never actually getting cool enough to shut the fan off, it's also not helping it.
It's not helping. It's heat-soaking itself at that point.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the air guides because it's the cheapest way
Sure.
to try to solve this problem. And it's really only like 10 degrees you need to pull out of it. And hopefully it's just that. If not, I have...
You should take the hood off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the original shroud with the bad fan, and I was looking into aftermarket Spall fans that I can mount to the factory shroud.
You can modify the original shroud if need be.
Yeah, because they don't come with any shroud, and the shroud definitely helps. But I'll get there if it doesn't work.
Right. Hopefully this works.
Yeah, so we'll start with that. Otherwise, the car ran great. It's super fun. Surprisingly, I've got Yoko S drives on there from 14.
Mm-hmm.
Still very sticky.
Yeah, they're not the world's stickiest tire, but for a good all-arounder, like not all-arounder,
They're not 200
not winter,
tread wear,
but
they're 300.
Yep.
They had plenty of tread on them, so I'll rotate them before the next one because they're definitely blistered.
But again, this also goes to the whole thing, like, the gear oil you put in there is better than what was in the car from the factory, and these S drives are better than whatever came on the car in 1991. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, super fun, and I was hoping to get the coilovers on it before, because I ordered them more than 4 weeks ago, and they told me it would be about 4 weeks to get them in. I had actually ordered them at the time. I think it was like 5 weeks from Feel, and apparently they have, because Feel sources their stuff from overseas, but then they build them in California. And like 6 weeks had gone by, so I sent an email just to check in, like, oh, sorry, we had trouble with the aluminum supplier. Your stuff's at the machine shop.
Which is honestly not a surprise.
No, it's not a surprise at all.
Yeah.
Right.
All suppliers are weird right now.
Within like 4 days of that email, I got the UPS tracking. And I got them.
Nice.
And they're the same design as what's in the Talon, the Feels, but instead I got the Max Travel 6K, which I think the Talons are like 8K.
So it'll be a
little softer, and a little more travel. So I guess they can't go as low, but they'll still go,
no stance points.
Yeah, they'll still go pretty low.
Yeah.
Front camber plates, Swift springs.
All the upgrades.
I mean, the Talon ride's really nice.
Yep.
So these should work really well for occasional track days and mostly driving the car on the street.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got to throw those in. Shouldn't take too long.
No, it's not the first time you've done it now. It's the
No,
same setup as the Talon.
done it
So
multiple times. But I ran it on the H&Rs and the AGXs. I don't think they're blown out. It felt pretty good most places. On the downhills, because the AGXs have a bit of a rake to the front, it definitely felt a little light in the back. Like there's a little too much squat in the nose.
okay, they're probably softer springs too.
Yeah, and I was like, I would kind of go easy in the downhill braking, not go into it too hot because I didn't want to.
Do an endo.
Yeah, break the rear tires loose and spin around. So
Yeah, no, you don't want to unload the rear in a weird turn like that for sure.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, get into the Track Night in America. It's pretty fun. You show up at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So especially nowadays, when you can work from home, you don't really kill your whole day. You can do a lot of work in the morning, and then
Yep, I think it's why they designed them like this, specifically during the week, so that people with children and families don't lose their whole weekend to do a track day.
yeah, and they're not timed. There's no timing at all. They've got novice, intermediate, and advanced groups.
Mm-hmm.
There's no instructors that ride in the car. So also like this was even before COVID. So it's also like it's kind of like socially distanced built into it because you're just in your own car. They just watch you during the thing and give you tips.
Or black flags.
Yeah, there's flaggers. So that's the other thing. If you wanted to volunteer to learn how to flag, you could do that and then run the event with a discount.
Okay, that's cool.
And then so I hadn't done a track day. The only one I'd ever done was at NHMS in 2008.
In your SDI.
In my SDI.
A very long time ago.
And it was Solo 1, they called it at the time.
Right.
Which I have the book somewhere, the sign-off book, which was kind of cool. Because they had a stack of them when I got there. I was like, oh, I have one of those books. I should have brought it. I don't know why he had them, but maybe it's for the advanced guys.
Yeah, I don't know. What is that, to show your experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a logbook. They'll literally sign you off for experience on track. Because
Okay.
if you wanted to go for an SCCA license.
Cool.
For like Spec Miata or something. So anyway, you show up, you sign your forms, you bring your current helmet.
Which is what, 2015 still?
They had a whole list. I think 10s. Oh no, actually 2000s on the list are good till like December of this year.
Okay. So they're almost 20 years worth of... Well, they're over 20 years.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're like at the very end, but mine's a 15 because I bought it in 17 as a leftover for cheaper. So that'll be good for a while.
Yeah, it's plenty of time.
As long as you don't damage them or leave them out in the sun too long or something. But so anyway, then they do like pace laps. So they'll break you out, show you the line. And I was like, oh, I kind of remember the line. Give you some like just talk about like point buys. Like we're not they're like, this isn't a race. Like everybody's on the same team here.
You can't win, you can only lose.
Yeah, exactly. Drive at your pace. Because there was like 4 passing zones. Like it's clearly marked. Like just watch your mirrors. Somebody comes up behind you.
Get out of the way.
Well, you got to wait till the passing zone.
Right.
And the person behind you has got to be patient too to wait for the passing zone. Like,
right.
Which one guy kind of ticked me off because we were like pretty far from like any passing zone. He's like flashing his beams at me. I'm like, I see you, bro. Like, relax. There's also like the novice group here. Like,
yep, which is why he was doing it. Because he's novice and he hasn't been told how to do things properly yet.
So, yeah, I mean, I was pointing by most people because I just didn't want to go as fast. I just hadn't done it in a while.
Right. Yeah, you got to get comfortable. Nothing could be worse than trying to have an enjoyable night and wrecking your car.
Yeah, I just want to go out and just do some laps because you literally like it's a lot to string together like 2 laps. Like it's a 2-mile track. You get pretty tired and you're like, all right, that's cool. Now I want to do a lap where I'm like 7/10.
Yep.
Instead of like 8/10 or 9/10. But there's always people that show up, and that's the only problem is that the Galant is modern enough to keep up with most traffic, but on a track like now there's people that show up in Porsches.
Yeah.
Or like a Cayman or the C6, C7 Corvettes.
Sure. 450 horsepower factory
New
cars.
Mustangs.
Yeah.
so insanely fast and so well built.
Yep.
And they're in the novice group. You're like, oh, okay, let me get to the straight here. I'll let you buy. Like,
I'm basically a cone at this point for this guy. Yeah.
I'll just let you go. All right.
Yeah, they should have like a low horsepower track nights.
I don't know.
Under 200 horsepower track nights.
I'm curious to look up now. I have some coworkers that do mass tuning ones. I'm curious to see how they break those up. If they put slower cars together, because.
So I've heard things about the mass tuning ones, and mass tuning, for what it is a Facebook group for those who are not from here.
Yeah.
It's a locally based Facebook group for.
The guy started doing meets, and then he actually started doing like professional stuff. Like, supposedly the track days are pretty good.
Yeah, the meets deteriorated very quickly.
Yeah.
And I was going to say the track days actually have a pretty good rep of not being bad. They're very well run.
Because it weeds out all the jokesters.
Yeah, unlike the meets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried when he first started doing it. The meets were pretty legit. There were some good like car gatherings until it got too popular, which is the same story everywhere, I guess. Things get too popular and too many meatheads show up, and next thing you know, you're getting thrown out of everywhere you go. So, but yeah, so supposedly the track day things are still good. I don't know if I even belong to that group anymore.
I'm not. I gotta look it up.
I think I might have left it.
I think you can just go on Instagram. I think it's like Mass Tuning Track Fest or something.
Oh, they're on Instagram now too? Because it was just Facebook before, but that makes sense.
I know a couple people that we know
have done
collectively that have done it. So I gotta look into it some more. But yeah, because I want to do when I do Lime Rock, I'm gonna use the G20.
Sure.
Because it's a lot slower. Because
the track is much faster, so you want to have a slower car.
I mean, maybe it's not as much faster, but the track's maybe a little more intimidating than an HMS.
It's definitely more intimidating. Probably because, I don't know why it'd be more intimidating.
I don't know.
Other than the fact that, like, that's the track that we drive in Forza all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which, as I told you, if your G20 would probably be, what, a D-class car?
If it did like a 115 to 110, that'd be like really good.
So you have a D-class car basically, which in Forza we're running like 104 to 108. So if you don't run a 104 on this untimed event, then podcast over. Yeah, don't time it, please.
No, that's how you get away with it on your insurance too, because they're not timed events.
They're not timed events. Yep. You're just driving aimlessly around. It predetermined.
Just an open lap. I mean, what else do you want to use your car for? Is exactly what I like. I had some really long rips in the Galant. I'm not worried about
getting pulled over or a child running out in front of you.
Yeah,
or deer.
On the front NASCAR straight, I was just about hitting 95 miles an hour going in fourth gear before I had to brake.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
That's really fun.
Yeah, I don't think that. Did your STI break 100 there?
No, it would just touch the top of the rev limit in third and almost hit 100.
So if the rev limiter wasn't there, you probably would have hit 100.
If I had shifted,
in the STI.
But that was in the STI. You could run that track in third. Actually, in the Galant, you could mostly run it in third. If you didn't go full throttle in the straight, you could run it all in third, which makes a lot of sense. If you're just out to like have fun and learn the line, like just.
Yeah, you learn the line. You're not there to win a race, so you're not going to break your car.
You're going to money shift it.
Yeah, you're not going to just bang gears the whole time.
A couple times you're like, all right, I want to try a heel toe, and you'd go into a slower corner, you'd heel toe third to second. You're like, all right, that sounds really cool, and it feels cool.
Yep.
Just get to the feeling, like.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's what they say, a controlled environment. Bring it to a controlled environment. It's neat that it's out there and it's an option. You don't have to drive like a dick on the streets.
And
go do it somewhere else.
At NHS, when you come around, you exit the NASCAR straight on the back, the rear straight. You take a hard right and you go up the hill
into like a big left hand, like almost.
But
like
it's a blind. Did you remember that it's blind?
Yeah, I do.
So you're flying up this hill, and the flag stand is at the very top of the crest. And as soon as you hit the flag stand, it just dumps down this hill, and then it's a big bowl turn, which is really cool because if you hit the line right, you can just hold the wheel and the car will just suck around the bowl. It's like the carousel.
Yep. I think we talked about that in the podcast before. I've been on that track before. I've never done a track day, but I did get to ride one hot lap around that track at nighttime with no lights.
Yeah, because there used to be the Rally Against Leukemia TSD.
Yep.
That the SCCA
and
did.
The last leg was always
because
lab of
it would begin and
NHMS.
end at HMS,
Yep.
and it would be Labor Day weekend, and then we didn't like the first time we did, we didn't know it, and then we got to the end, we're like reading the notes, we're like, this seems like the track,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, go out, and it was like dark.
Yeah, and there were no lights anywhere because there's no lights.
It's not a track you run at night,
Maybe it is even, but they weren't turned on if they were.
and it was like, oh yeah, this is a TSD, so there's a CAS, wink, wink.
Yeah, don't go too fast. Don't. I think the rule was basically don't crash and screw it up for next year.
Yeah,
Was basically the rule.
yeah. I think everybody maxed that score.
Yeah, well, you couldn't. The problem with that particular night was those blind corners were extra blind because we weren't out there with lights and we weren't out there with the expectation of running something like that. So, sure, we had like.
I think you had some hellas on the Mirage.
I didn't do it in the Mirage. I was a passenger in Joe Davis's
Oh, one year we did
Subaru.
the Mirage.
You drove though.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever drove. I think I always wound up being a navigator. So, yeah, it was definitely a experience.
Anyway, super fun. I'm gonna do the one in Thompson. That's a little bit flatter of a track, I guess. I've been there once to watch, but
You watched drifting there, right?
I haven't watched full course drifting there. I actually watched the first track night there. It was like 2015. I went.
Okay.
Yeah, super cool.
There's a drift event this weekend actually at NHMS.
Yeah, but this weekend is Climb the Clouds, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did that, and then while I was doing all the fluids, I also did the gear oil on the G20.
Okay. Same stuff.
Same stuff. Yeah, works really well.
Yeah, I drove it tonight. It's just really nice.
Mm-hmm. I get a rear sway bar coming for it.
Awesome.
There's like some rear sway bar. I forget the name of the company. It's like 7/16 sway bar or something that everybody raves about on the G20 group, and you can just buy it through Jegs.
Random. It's the only part for the car you can buy from Jegs.
Yeah, and it was like,
So did you buy it from Jegs?
yeah,
Have you ever bought anything from Jegs before?
I'll buy random like Universal stuff.
That's funny.
So that worked really good. I'll throw that in. Oh, I got. I didn't know Moret. Is it Moret? Moretti? Moret.
Yep.
Made headlights for the car.
Yep.
Until
That's
like
super cool.
2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then I saw it and I was like,
I need those.
I need those because they're dual rounds. It turns the front of the G20 from solid glass headlights to dual rounds.
Yeah, it's super cool looking. It reminds me of like an Escort RS 2000 rally car.
Yeah.
It's that same style. Super cool. I'm way into it.
So
I do like how this car went from like I'll drive for a little bit and then
Yeah.
I'll probably get rid of it, and you put a little time into it and you realized how nice the car is.
it's
and
a
you
really good car.
You fell in love with it.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened.
G20. The Q45 is going to get sold, but the G20 is.
Yeah, it's a dumb fun car.
Yeah, because
it's
it's quiet.
it's
the
perfect.
AC works. It gets
Yeah.
really good mileage. It handles really well.
yeah. I wish the Eclipse drove as nice as that car does. The Eclipse drives pretty well, but that car is just it's a pleasure to drive. It's fun. It's not fast. It's just it's inviting. I guess it's
Yeah, it's cool little car. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. So, and then what else we did?
Donut Meat
Donut meet with
Revival Motoring Podcast,
yeah.
which we don't like saying other people's podcasts to get you out of here, but we do like a couple of them, and that's one of them.
Yeah, you should go check that out, especially if you're from New England area or former
Yeah.
New Englanders. They're pretty fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They don't take life seriously at all. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah, those guys are really, really fun to listen to. They put on a meet at their headquarters in Rhode Island. You have to know, if you know, you know. You kind of have to follow their social media because they don't advertise because they don't want it to turn into a shit show.
No.
So if
there was like, 12 cars?
a little more than that, but it was 24 hours notice or 48 hours notice.
Yeah.
So it's a good gathering of good people. So those are cool. It's not too far from the Boston area. It was like an hour and 15 minutes probably.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good drive on an early Sunday morning.
We brought the good donuts, the
We
canes.
brought the Canes donuts. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Everybody else brought what was it? Honeydew mostly.
Yeah,
Lame.
dunks.
Dunks. Honeydew. Yeah, we brought the Canes donuts.
I brought some canes to work today because it's on the way. And everybody was like, "Oh, canes!" Like,
Yeah, and hey, for my dumb digestive system, they even have the gluten-free ones there now. So
One
it's
guy was
good.
like, "Oh, if you brought Dunks, I would avoid it, but Canes are unavoidable."
It's worth the carbs. Yeah. So that was a neat meet. It was neat to meet two of the three hosts of the podcast. See their cars and see some other rad stuff down there, and talk to our rally buddy Jesse was there.
Yeah,
So
our other one of our listeners met us there. Chris,
Ed Chris Dorado was there with his
the Chariot
yeah
Resort Runner GT,
Mitsubishi Chariot Resort Runner GT.
whatever other name goes with it.
I think that's it. I think that's the whole thing. You would know it in the United States as a Mitsubishi Expo LRV.
Yeah.
So I didn't take any pictures of it, and I was mad at myself for not taking pictures of
You
it.
got to try to get down to his place and drive it before you leave.
I do. I have to drive it, and I have to get down there anyway because he has a nose for a second gen RX-7, which is the next project on the list of projects when the Yellow Colt is done. Is I have that 91 RX-7 convertible, and he has all the parts I need to put that back together,
Cool.
except for the front bumper cover. So, actually, if anybody has a front bumper cover for a Series 2 second gen RX-7, hit me up.
All right, cool. So I think that's all the project car stuff. So events coming up. You want
Events passed. We went to New England Forest Rally.
Yeah, why don't you talk about that?
So you missed New England Forest Rally because of the plague. Not the plague, but a plague. You missed that event. Jordan and Liz, who have been on the podcast many times, we talked about their car many times.
They finished.
Spaghetti Golf. Iron Oxide Racing is their team name. You can follow them on the socials there, I think. Actually, have they posted there in a while? I don't think they have.
No, they did all about the rally.
Okay, cool. So they finished. They've run the event now 3 times.
Yeah.
And they finished the event 3 times.
Yep.
The first time was a little bit, touch and go, but they finished. Last time they finished, and this time they finished pretty strong, actually. So the cool thing is having watched them run all 3 events,
Yeah.
and from watching them the first year to watching them this year, it's at the point where they are like an experienced rally team, and they're out there getting at it like everybody else, and the car is moving fast.
Good.
Really neat to see. I think Jordan was saying that a couple of the stages, he was comparing times to the first year.
They were like minutes faster.
They were like 10 minutes faster now.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, they had a flat at the second to last stage of the whole weekend, and they had to change a flat on stage, and that unfortunately ruined their chances of any, decent finishing positions. But again,
They beat a bunch of people simply by finishing.
yeah, they beat 50.
Attrition rate was like 50%.
They beat 50% of the field because they finished the event.
Even Travis Pastrana and Ken Block because they didn't finish.
Well, they don't. Ken Block never finishes. That's not even an accomplishment. He just goes too hard. And actually, watching the video of Travis, he also went too hard this year because it was like 3 miles of stage left the entire event, and he just misjudged and rolled the car.
Well, it was really cool because is it McKenna? I believe McKenna Motorsports.
Okay.
Larry McKenna runs a Fiesta. I don't remember if it's an R5, an S2000 car. It's
something.
It's one of the new Fiesta chassis.
Yep.
He did whatever he did. He put Higgins and Drew into a Ford.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't know how that happened.
Well, Subaru let him go or
Yeah.
didn't renew the contract. So he literally came out and beat. He had never driven in on that car before.
Right.
Did some practice and then just beat the field.
Yeah. By a significant margin, if I remember correctly, too.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
He started off a little slow and then got faster and I mean, he was teammates with Travis. I'm sure he knows that if you push him a little bit, he'll make a mistake.
He'll crash, yeah, because he tries too hard.
Yeah.
The cool story was the other Subaru driver, Smenik, I think is how you say his name. Ryan Smenik, I think his name is. He's pretty young. He's only like 21, 22 maybe. He's a extreme mountain biker,
Oh.
but he got involved in rally in Canada with his own car, and he was doing amateur level stuff in a black like GD Subaru Impreza.
Mm-hmm.
And he caught the eye of Subaru, and Subaru was like, "Hey, you're pretty good. What can you do? Come do a test." And he came and did a test, and they were like, "Oh, you're really good. Here's a contract. Have a nice day."
Huh.
So they have him going, and he's actually I think he's ahead of Travis in the points this year.
I think so. Yeah, probably.
Just by finishing events.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that all or nothing driving style Travis has, and he's really fun to watch. He's definitely on it.
And then
there was another 16-year-old who was driving the Hoonigan car too.
the guy with the fake name.
It sounds like a fake name.
Jack's Redline.
Yeah, but it actually is his name.
It's yeah. I mean
Yeah.
it literally, like I said, it sounds like
It's like Homer Simpson when he changed his name to Max Power.
it sounds like a Frank Grillo character in a movie about like Indy cars.
Sure.
Would be Jack's Redline.
Sure. Well, it's like the IndyCar driver also, Will Power. Like,
yeah.
Who named these people?
The kid apparently is a Baja driver.
Yes, he is. He's done some serious Baja stuff.
So Block's got some Baja truck they're doing now, which is cool.
Yeah, but he's part of the Hoonigan team, and they brought
Yeah.
out that the Escort RS
V2,
Cosworth
whatever.
version 2. Yeah. I tell
It
you
didn't
what,
burn up in the woods.
if nothing else, the whole Hoonigan thing is a hell of an ambassador for the sport.
It's cool.
It's really they really bring eyes to it. There's no question.
Yeah.
Are they the right eyes? It remains to be seen. But they're eyes, and exposure is needed. So
He didn't wreck or break the car, so
no, he drove the car really well. I mean, I can't imagine being. I was older than 16 when I crashed a car in the woods trying to pretend to be a rally driver, and this kid's 16, so I can't even imagine what it's
he's
like.
probably been driving a Baja since he was 12 or something.
Yeah, I'm not comparing myself to him. I was just making a joke.
Yeah, it's
pretty
cool.
amazing. I posted a picture of that the other day, actually, because one of my favorite pictures. I took the whole weekend of him driving that Escort because it's one of my favorite cars that was there all weekend. So
I got to use because I was home, I used the Rally Safe app to follow everyone, which is a new thing. They required all the cars to have GPS trackers, and you can, as long as you have signal, you can track all the cars through the app,
right,
which is pretty cool. And I guess they did virtual chicanes or something. And
so that was a big change this year. They went from actual chicanes to what they call virtual chicanes.
yeah,
So the way the virtual chicane worked was there was an entry point and an exit point.
yeah, it was geofenced.
Yep, it was geofenced.
And the Rally Safe, supposedly, according to Jordan, would like turn red.
So when
or
you
something.
got into the geofenced area, you would get a red light on your little Rally Safe computer thing on your dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
And before you exited the virtual chicane, and it was signed, so we went in, there was a red circle that said VC on it.
Yep.
And when you exited it, it was a green circle that said VC on it.
Yep.
So you didn't have to slow down to 25 or 20. 25? I think it was 25. You didn't have to slow down for the entire virtual chicane.
No, you just needed to hit 25.
It was somewhere
at one
in
point.
between those two signs.
Trigger 25.
You had to slow down to 25 miles an hour as if you were driving through a traditional chicane. And the reason they did that was because then they don't have to have somebody out there
Watching it.
watching all the
Resetting
chicanes and making sure the chicanes are set when a car hits them or moves them, or just making sure that it's used properly. So that was interesting, and we were a little nervous because the spectator spot that we use every year was in the middle of a virtual chicane. So we're like, oh, they got to go by us at 25 miles an hour because that'll be super lame. Spend all day in the woods to watch cars crawl by us at 25 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really neat because we watched them come in, especially the faster cars.
Because they understood it works.
They understood how it works. You'd watch them come in at 85, 90 miles an hour, and just hard on the brakes and toss the car completely sideways under braking. And then we could see them probably, I don't know, an eighth of a mile away do that. And then when they went by us, the car was like full throttle accelerating, banging through the gears, anti-lag, popping flames. It was super cool. It was definitely really neat.
Yeah,
to
they're
watch
basically
that
a
way.
restart.
Yeah, basically. It was neat to see it that way because you watched all that action the whole way.
Then what did you
so.
say? Some people who didn't understand did 25 the whole way?
There were a couple of cars that the first time we saw our virtual chicane, they just crawled past the entire thing at 25 miles an hour, and we're like, oh, you didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
You screwed that up.
Yeah.
You just lost your entire event. But
Because then we also learned, too, that's really cool. It's got proximity alarm.
the
Rally Safe.
oh yes,
So if
yeah.
you come up to a car that's going slower, you can hit like a pass button, and it'll light up the other car to tell you
Let
if
them know
somebody's
you're
behind you.
them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you can't see a car behind you because
Yeah.
of the dust, especially in the New England forest rally.
Yeah. Or Jordan was telling us if you wreck, it's got like a OK switch you need to hit.
Right.
So if you don't hit that switch,
The next competitor will know you're wrecked.
it sends a
should stop
signal.
and
It's
help.
a warning signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll tell you that there's a car that with potential injuries ahead
Yep.
or
So
close to you.
you might want to be on the lookout.
Yeah,
And
so
also
kind of neat
stop
new
and look.
technology. So
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of that. I don't mind that. Getting in my car.
expensive because they made everybody buy it, but it's kind of neat. It's in the name of
There are
progress.
some things that are, yeah, exactly.
So all right,
Things
so
you
that
have to
event
do.
was cool, and now 2 weeks later, we've got Climb the Clouds.
Climb the Clouds. Yep.
Postponed from last year. Now they're running it this year.
Yep. Which is good because I don't think I would have made it last year.
No, and we interviewed Alex Gerbauer before. It was like a couple weeks before the event last year was supposed to go off, and they
Mhm.
canceled it. So he's going this year. So
Yeah, we should actually put a link to that on the Instagram
Yeah.
page so people can find that because I'm sure his prep is similar, although changed this year because he had a hell of a year.
yeah, so yeah, we should probably have him on afterwards. He can talk all about it.
Yeah, he had a. It's no secret; it's all out there, so we can say it. But he had a bicycle accident where a deer ran out in front of him. What, a month and a half ago?
Something like that.
He hit a deer on his bicycle at 43 miles an hour. He broke a bunch of bones, and I didn't assume he was going to run Climb to the Clouds.
No,
But he's already gotten back on the bicycle and done 100-mile bike rides, and he's up there practicing right now. So I'm like super impressed with that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
good luck to them. And the cool thing we talked about with the I think we called it like way back when the newest Gymkhana video. When they built this unlimited Air Slayer SDI,
Yeah.
that was supposedly for the Gymkhana video,
It was really for
and everybody's
Climb to the
like,
Clouds. Yeah.
no, that's really for Climb to the Clouds.
Yep.
Because it's got whatever it is horsepower.
Sure.
It's probably like 1,000 or something.
It's
I think.
850, I think.
Something like that. Yep. All the aero.
Because it's open class. There's no rule really.
No,
Other than
it's
safety.
just go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
So,
I'm super excited
it's
to watch it go.
Yeah. It was 5:45. 5:44
The record.
is the record.
It's way fast. I know when I did it, it took me 38 minutes.
Yeah, at 25 miles an hour. That's what the speed limit is. on
Yeah,
that
no,
road.
it's insane. The forest rally is cool. Rally is cool. I can't imagine going up this road at speed at all. It's insane.
Yeah. So my guess, I've got an aggressive time. I think he's gonna hit 4:45.
A minute?
Yeah.
So his average speed last year was like 75 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He's going to average 100.
I mean, more horsepower, more aero. The car that was before had it was basically a stock bodied STI with 600 horsepower.
Sure.
It was a because even their new rally car has more aero than the old body style cars.
Okay. Well, this car is all. Did you watch the Subaru launch control season about that car?
Oh yeah,
Like the amount of engineering that went.
I watched the Hoonigan build breakdown on it.
Oh, there's the Subaru does that launch control show.
Yeah,
It's on Amazon Prime. It's free. They did a whole breakdown of the build of that car and how much aero time was spent in like designing the aero and all the work that went into it, and it's insane.
yeah,
It's insane. Like it has that little aileron flip in the thing in the back that you can move. And he's like, "Yeah, the car gets air. I can adjust this to adjust the car in the air.
yeah.
Like if the car comes off the ground, he can move a lever and like flatten out. Like what? That's crazy.
Yeah, at the midpoint, there is a point where you can get air. I do have a picture of him getting slightly air in the old car.
So it looks like I was just checking to see the time just to confirm what we're saying here, but it's not super easy to find real quick. Because I'd like to have a definite
No, it was 5:44.
544.72.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to hit 445. I think
That's my aggressive.
that's
and
very-
I gave myself plus or minus 5 seconds.
I'm glad you made up the own rules to your own game.
I'll give everybody plus or minus 5 seconds. I put a Facebook post on my page. I said, everybody put your times down.
I haven't been on Facebook in a while. Sorry. I'll
So,
have to look.
well, what's your time? What do you think?
Well, I hadn't thought about it, but if it was 5:45 last time,
All right.
I bet it's 5:10.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna go with
I'll
5:10.
go with 5:10, and
All
I'll log into my Facebook and post out your thing so we have it recorded. But
right.
I'm gonna say 5:10. Or there's only two options. He's
It's-
gonna 5:10 or he's
or
gonna
crash.
launch it off a cliff. The two things that
It's
can
either
happen.
smash the record or crash the car.
Smash the record or smash the car.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. No, I'm super excited to watch it, and we don't have tickets to the top this time.
I think
'Cause-
you're better off. I think you're gonna have more fun down low.
I'm not gonna be as miserable.
Yeah, here's the thing. You're more likely to see the car down low. He's more likely to wreck it up top.
That's what I was saying. Is that I was going to get to the point of don't have tickets to the top, so I'll probably see the car.
And if he wrecks it at the top and
I don't want to be there.
they stop the race for a while, yeah, you're gonna be stuck up there.
Yeah, it's so 2016 was the last one, right? 2017, I mean.
17.
So and I was on, I don't know the names of the turns and the straights and whatnot like you do sometimes here, but so we hiked down from.
You guys were above the Craigway.
We're above the Cragway.
You were way above the tree line.
We're way
you're
above
up
the tree
in the
line.
rocks there.
We're up on the rocks, yeah, on the left-hand side of the
Yeah.
road, going up, and there was no kind of wind break for us.
Oh, it's brutal up there. I did that in 2011 to take pictures, and we in between runs it was like a foxhole. We'd just get down and you just lay next to the rocks and
Yeah.
just let the wind whip over you because that was the only way.
Yeah, it was cold. It was like 85 degrees at the base,
Oh no, it'll be 40 up top.
and I don't think it was 40. It was cold. It was gross. So I'll be more comfortable at the bottom. They changed it this year because it used to be kind of a first come first serve basis,
Yeah.
where you got there in the morning, you got in line. If long as you were past the toll booth by 8 a.m., you drove to the top. So I assumed that was the case this year, and
Yeah.
I apparently wasn't paying attention to the right social medias because I didn't learn that I needed to buy tickets.
I never saw it either.
Yeah, they sold out tickets to the summit because basically it's limited by parking. They know how many parking spots they have. They can
Right.
sell enough tickets for parking, and there were even two sales because I went online to buy a ticket the other day. Obviously, 'cause I wanted to try anyway. And it said, please call some phone number. So I called that phone number, and she's like, yeah, we have 17 tickets left. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll buy one. And she's like, all right. Well, hold on. Maybe not. I was like, oh, cool. And they got me all excited. And I was on left. She goes, all right, I'll call you back. And I'm like, sure you will. So I gave my phone number, and like 10 minutes later, they called back. And they said, sorry, we're all sold out. But keep watching the website because we might release more tickets. She's like, we've already had 1 second release of tickets. Because originally, when we planned it, we had COVID protocol. We could only sell so many parking spots for so many people on the mountain. But then New Hampshire lifted COVID protocol, so we opened up a second bank of tickets. She's like, there might be another bank opening before the end. So I've been watching and nothing came up. So here I am.
You'll be all right.
I know it'll be fine. And all of our friends are watching from the bottom, so I'd be all alone up top. So
Yeah, as long as you guys get there to the AMC Lodge in a good amount of time in the morning on Sunday, get your hike in.
well, I'm planning on camping the night before down the road so that I don't have to worry about driving from down here, Massachusetts, 2.5, 3 hours at the middle of the night.
Well, still, the
So-
problem is it's just the AMC Center for hiking, so people are just there to hike, not even go to the climb the clouds. So
right.
You
So
gotta,
there's just a lot.
yeah, it's just a lot to park in. Otherwise, you got to park on 16, which stinks, or at Wildcat.
Which they probably charge money.
I think it's free in the email I got. It's just
Okay.
they just have shuttles.
So that's not too bad then.
Yeah,
So we'll figure it out. I'm not worried about it.
Wildcat's not that far.
I don't think the campground is either, thankfully.
Cool.
Anyway, I'm excited. I've been waiting for it since 2017, obviously.
Yeah,
And,
I had applied for media. It took a while. A little touch and go, but
As of today,
as of today, a day before the event, yeah, everybody got media passes.
yeah, which is good because you're only 2 hours away. But if you were coming from like California or Phoenix or somewhere,
yeah,
you'd be like, well, that's nice. I can't even do it now because
yeah.
I'm not going to be there.
So had I known ahead of time, I would have planned to go up Friday, but I'm just gonna go up Saturday and Sunday instead, because it's only like a practice on Friday, and then they
Yep.
won't even let you on the mountain to photograph.
Oh,
on Friday.
really?
Yeah, just
Weird.
the base. Yeah, I think it's just a matter because they they drive you all up in the vans
Okay.
to keep track of everyone. So I think that's why they just don't have anybody maybe to drive up the vans on Fridays or something, or it's
Oh,
just too complicated.
they want to leave the road clear for because they do practice in sections, right? They do a whole.
They're going to
whole
do
run.
bottom half and top half, but they don't even know which they're going to do until that day.
Okay.
Which is also
It's probably
slightly
weather
annoying.
depending though.
Yeah, it's probably is weather dependent, but
Yeah.
be kind of nice to know because if it was like, all right, we're definitely doing bottom on Friday,
You could go
then
photograph.
I could go photograph like the start. Like,
Yep.
that'd be cool.
But if you get there and they're doing top half, you're just gonna sit there and twiddle your thumbs all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Oh, also exciting news. Speaking of Jordan and Liz and the Iron Oxide Racing team, Jordan's actually co-driving this year.
Yeah.
So another friend of ours, Dan Fouquet, is running his
Slow is fast.
Subaru.
Slow sports.
Subaru is WRX, I assume.
It's not a WRX.
Not a turbo
That's
car.
a non-turbo car.
Okay. So he's running his Impreza.
That's why it always runs.
He's running his Impreza up the hill this year. So and Jordan is co-driving for him. So I'm super excited for that. So we're gonna be able to go up and watch Alex run his Evo, Jordan co-drive in the Impreza, and Jesse run his Volkswagen. And who else do we know that's running the event this year? It's pretty good.
Oh, there's definitely
Jamie's running the event this year.
Yeah.
Volkswagen.
Yep, Bellevue Boys Racing. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many people. I'm probably forgetting.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for that. Is Dan running anything? No.
Dan Downey?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well,
Could be.
I'm excited. The Dennises are running the Duster again.
Oh, Rodman Lagerman is running a car.
Oh, Rodman's looking at a car.
Yep.
This is gonna be a killer year. I'm very excited for it. I'm glad
Yep.
I'm here. So if you don't have tickets already, you can still buy them for base. And if you go in the base, you can walk up to certain areas in the mountain and watch. So
You can also hike up.
yeah,
You can hike longer than.
I think you still need to buy tickets though.
Nope.
No, because you're going on the hiking
It's
trails.
a hiking trail. They don't control the hiking trails.
Okay.
You can hike all the way up to the Cragway, but it's like
I cannot hike.
you can't. Yeah, I couldn't either. It's like so that's a 3-hour hike
Right.
just to that point because that's like 5,000 feet
Yeah. No, thank you.
or 4,000 feet. So that's
We're gonna do a 32-minute hike
yeah
to our viewing point. It's like a mile.
Yeah, 2 miles or something. I think relatively flat.
Yep.
Um,
It's probably 600 feet of gain.
yeah, it's like it's weird because it's like you're in like a valley, so it's pretty gradual, and then all of a sudden it's very steep.
It goes from like a walking path to a ladder real quick.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't.
even hiking down from the summit to the Cragway is like an hour hike, and it's a tough hike.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm a hiker by any means. So I'm not gonna pretend I can do any of those hikes. I know I can do the walking path to where we're gonna view the event from. So
Mhm.
anyway, I'm excited. I did buy a ticket so that I can go down and walk around in the paddock. And,
Oh, you did? Okay.
yeah, yeah. It was $20. It supports the event.
Oh yeah, it's cool. I would go down
Yeah.
definitely on Saturday. You're gonna go up. It's for Saturday.
It's for Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't buy the weekend pass. I could probably still buy one for Saturday. I could probably exchange it for Saturday for Sunday.
You should try to do that because you're gonna want to get to your spot early and just stay there
Okay,
for Sunday. Because they run it twice.
on Sunday.
Yeah, unlike Pikes Peak, they do 2 runs.
Okay, I don't remember.
They get 2 chances.
It was a very busy day last year when I was up there, so
But
I remember a lot of it.
yeah, I would do it Saturday to at least walk around the paddock area because you look at all the cars. And
Okay. Well, I'm not sure what time I'm going up Saturday, so
all right.
because it all depends. I have a lot of stuff to do down here,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm trying to get some stuff done. So I have tomorrow off to work on the Colt and Saturday to work on the car, and then I got some other cars I got to move things around in my parents' yard to stay on their good side.
All right.
So-
Cool. I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered
Yeah.
everything.
Lamborghini announced a new Countach. Did you see that?
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, it's interesting.
It's interesting. I don't.
Here's my problem.
Supposedly it leaked the concept. You see the pictures?
It's a render though.
Yeah, it looks like an Aventador or whatever. Aventador.
Whatever the new Super Lamborghini
It looks like an
is.
Aventador with just Countach
It looks to me like
touches.
It looks to me like what would happen if you went to some like random Eastern European supercar tuner, and you were like, "Make my Lamborghini look like a Countach."
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a factory put together thing at all, and it doesn't have pop-up headlights.
It doesn't matter because they'll print money to sell them.
Oh, 100%. And people will buy them. It doesn't matter.
Just for the clout. It doesn't.
It's one of those things that's interesting because, we grew up in the 80s as, the Countach was the poster car, right?
Yeah, it'll show up to Cars and Coffees, and everybody will be all over it. All the 12-year-olds with their video cameras for their Cars and Coffee YouTube channels.
It'll make a bunch of revs.
Yeah.
And then it'll crash leaving.
Yep.
And then everybody will be happy.
Yep.
So, but no, it was interesting to me because, again, the Countach and the F40 were the cars growing up, obviously. So I figure we're remiss to bring it up and not give our opinions on it. Obviously, the opinion of somebody who will never be able to afford to buy one. But I just think it's lazy. If you're going to go through all that effort and be like, the new anniversary Countach or Countach coming back out, and it's just a body kit on your current car, I think that's lazy.
I mean, hey, what if the render is a hoax, too? Because who knows where the render came from.
Supposedly it's the correct one, and the nose of it matches exactly what Lamborghini teased on their website.
So you could draw that?
It's true. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I don't know.
I hate renders. I hate talking about renders, but only because it was supposedly the official car that's coming out is no reason I'm talking about it.
Hey, speaking of real cars, I saw a Bronco, a new Bronco. Real Bronco, not a sport. Real Bronco.
And you took a picture of it.
Yep.
And you sent it to me, and it already has tires to stick up
I don't understand
past
that.
the fenders.
And it had a decal on the door. I'm like, what is this car? This truck's like 10 days old. Like, I
Yeah.
don't understand.
It already had all of the typical Jeep mods,
But
which I knew was going to happen with these damn things.
It was like 20 cars away, and I was like, that's a weird looking Jeep. Is that a Bronco?
Yeah.
It was.
I do not like the look of the four-door. The two-door is awesome. It's perfect. The four-door looks weird.
I don't mind it. Yeah, the two-door's cool. This one would have looked a lot better with taller, narrower tires.
Yes.
I just don't like super wide tires on a 4x4 that are 24s.
Yep.
The Bulldog stance, it's really
Looks
weird
dumb.
looking.
And as a vintage car owner, I hate it for my windshields.
Yeah.
Super legal and wrong. And I don't like you. You're a jerk if you do that. And I'm sorry if you have a car like that. I'll tell it to your face. You're a jerk. So.
I think there's something else new that I saw.
I haven't seen anything.
I've seen a bunch of RS6 wagons around.
A couple of those. There's a purple one around me back home, which is neat.
Oh, that's what happened. Any for our weekend because I didn't go up. I went to the Andover Cars and Coffee.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
I don't think I knew you went there.
Yeah, I told you
Excellent. I don't remember. I don't listen to you.
that. No,
Once a week.
you don't.
Once a week I listen to you. That's it.
I'm trying to think. There was something cool I saw there, but I can't remember now.
You have to take a picture of it and post it and show everybody later. Or
I did.
post a picture of it if you didn't already.
I did post a picture of some stuff. That was a good one, but I don't remember.
Couldn't have been that good.
No,
All right. That's an episode.
that's an episode.
Excellent.
All right. So as always, follow us on Facebook, Auto Off Topic Podcast, Auto Off Topic on Instagram. We've got event photos. Brad's still doing the diecast updates every day.
Yes. I think something's going to change with that a little bit. I'll talk to you about after we finish recording.
Okay.
I have an idea and a plan.
Okay. Sure.
But they will not be going away, put it that way.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I like the stories feature because it's a good way to
Bring
cross-post
Yep.
somebody else's stuff that you like.
Yep.
And it still gives them credit.
Yep.
I think it's a really cool feature for that, and I do it all
Yep.
the time now. So, and I do it on my own as well. So I am Race and Anger on Instagram, Race and Anger on Twitter. We have an off-topic Twitter page. I don't really use it.
So just follow Race and Anger instead.
Yeah.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at TSISS350 and still not on Twitter.
All right, cool. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.